Alright guys, so two huge announcements coming up here. I wanted to do this as its own video instead of roping this in with the market watch so that if you guys are searching for news on this topic, you're actually able to find a standalone video just like it. So we just got done with the Hasbro PulseCon for 2020 where they debuted a bunch of new products, such as new Transformers. The new Cyclonus looks dope. I'm really excited about that. And so we finally got clear, concise, definitive information about a international Hasbro licensed Zoids Wild product release. And here it is. So yeah, we're like 2 years late from the Japanese version, but it's okay. So a lot of the Zoids fans have had these kits in their possession for quite some time due to the Japanese version. But here we go. So here is the here's the Wild Liger. And we already noticed some things that are wildly different about the English version that I'll kind of go into. So first of all, they've done some rebranding here to kind of go along with the translation / localization of the Zoids Wild anime. So these are called the Zoids Giga Battlers, and this one is just called Liger because that's what they called in the English translation of the anime. Which, again, I could complain about that, but again, I have to think back of like, what if there was some snobbish elitist fan that like back in when the original anime was first localized, they were like, the organoid's name is not Zeke, it's Sieg. Why would you change that? And like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not worth even arguing over it. Although, interestingly enough, so first of all, I really want to get this out of the way about the battlers thing. So there's really been some deliberate marketing around this. If the picture will load, come on. There we go. I don't know what's going on there. So the marketing around this is really interesting, and I don't know how I feel about this. A part of me is like, please don't let this be a flop. From what we can tell, these are the same, just branded a little bit differently in the English version. So as you can see, it has this nice square box with a little translucent window where the parts are visible. I'm assuming the parts are still going to be separated by bags within the box, but we don't know that. And so you're still going to build it the exact same way as you did the or the Japanese version. It's still going to have batteries, still exactly the same kit. But there's this heavy focus on this battling aspect of it, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, obviously you want kids to, fight with their toys and that kind of thing, and like people have talked about, including myself, regarding the Zoids Wild line, is that we really feel like the kits are built with a lot more durability, and it's like this nice, thick, dense, sturdy plastic that can hold up to a lot more abuse, and that the Zoids Wild kits are made much more to be as toys than to be as adult modelers, hobbyist type kits like the HMM kits are made for, which is why, of course, we're getting an HMM Wild Liger so that Zoids fans can really get something that's meant more for them, and this can be more for kids, and I'm fine with that. But I'm not sure. I really wonder what the market is for these, and I almost feel like marketing Zoids to kids nowadays is a mistake, because I feel like toys in general to this generation of kids are just kind of lost on them. Like, I remember my generation, we didn't have as easy access to video games or smartphones, and so the fact that every kid has their own cell phone now and they play games on their phone, and the easy access to instant gratification, I just don't know that this stuff appeals to them anymore. And so I almost felt like it would have been better if they had marketed these more as just straight up imports of the Japanese ones at the intended Zoids audience. Like, I almost wonder if it would have been better to market these towards like anime fans that would buy anime merch, like older teenagers and adults, instead of kids, because I don't know. I don't know if the appeal is really there. That being said, it does kind of beg the question of, I wonder what Hasbro had to do from a licensing standpoint to pick this up, because it looks like, as far as localizing the anime, they released it, directly on Netflix. It was the same kind of release method it seems like they're going for with a lot of their other TV show tie-in type things like Transformers. And so it seems like they are kind of cultivating their approach to adapt to the changing market and that kind of thing. But even Transformers now has like two separate product lines for like kids and for collectors. And I mean, most of these kits are just they're just too expensive. And there's not that many kids that like Transformers now. I don't feel like so. I wonder if the same thing is going to be said for Zoids. But at the same time, they have my fullest support. I am so glad that this is happening because here's my perspective on this. So I started making Zoids content on YouTube back in 2011. At the time of 2011, I hadn't been able to appreciate Zoids in America since 2005. And so from 2011, I'm already this old cynical Zoids fan that Zoids is like a dead brand in the US at this point. It had been for years. And from 2011 up until now, with the diehard fan base that supported my Zoids content up until I eventually made this channel a dedicated Zoids channel, and then in 2018, just the shock of being like, after all of this patience, this dedicated fan base got what it wanted, and its franchise is back with passion. How can you be anything less than excited that a new generation of kids are going to potentially get to experience what we got to experience? And maybe it won't be the same. Like I said, maybe the appeal is not there, but I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity. So now that rant is over, I want to really talk about these kits in particular. So the noticeable differences with the Wild Liger here is, first of all, they built it wrong. This little, you can see the blade right there where my mouse is not attached correctly. Hasbro, please get your shit together. Also, you can see the color scheme is a little bit different. So the layer under here, I've built basically three different versions of this kit between the Wild Liger, Beast Liger, and Rising Liger. The parts that are the light gray / silver here are the moving parts that tie into the weapon system. So they are part of the interior skeleton, but they're not part of the motor, and they're not part of the legs. They're part of that moving system that's attached to the weapon system. So I understand why they colored them differently. And then also, we appear to have a slightly different shade of blue. It seems to be a slightly lighter shade of blue. That could potentially not be the case. This little pipe right here appears to be colored in gold, which is not the movie version. And then we actually have a molded, colored pilot in the form of Arashi here. And all the kits have this too. Like, it's really cool. Let's go ahead and show off the other ones. So let's go ahead and show off the Ganon Toys, which has been rebranded as Tanks. Again, if you've watched the anime, I hate the way his pilot looks. His pilot looks stupid. But this is a really cool kit. If you guys saw the Bazoodle review I did recently, this is the exact same kit as that, but the Bazoodle has been... and you know what? I think if Zoids Wild Zero comes to the US, it'll be a lot more successful than this series, because I think even in Japan, the regular Zoids Wild was kind of a flop, and they were like, okay, well, we'll try something a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark and adult. And that's what they went for with Zoids Wild Zero, and it was a lot more successful. So I think we'll probably see the same thing happen in the US, where people might just kind of turn the other cheek with this, and then they'll see Zoids Wild Zero, and they'll be like, oh my god, this is amazing. But yeah, really, really cool. The Gilraptor has been renamed into Ruin, again, per the anime. And we get our edgy edgelord Viral from Gurren Lagann rival character there. I think he's pretty alright. He's very edgy. Again, maybe a little bit of a color scheme difference here with the sort of off gunmetal gray there. I'm pretty sure that is not the same as on the Japanese version, which is all black. And then we have the molded colored pilot there. Again, honestly looks pretty cool. I'm really glad they're doing that. There's a couple... Oh, Phobia. What the heck is that? That's a spider thing. That's kind of a cool name for it, too. I don't think I've met this character yet in the anime, nor have I really seen anything on this model kit. That might be a good one to pick up. If I pick up any of these, I'll probably pick up the ones that I don't already own in the Japanese versions. There's the Scorpion one, Needle, which is, of course, our female sidekick character there. She's been really cool, even as kind of trite and cliche as some of the English Zoids Wild stuff. This is the kit, the pincers is what's called in English, but this is called the Koaga, which is a Japanese beetle name in Japan, of course. I want to see the wolf again. Here we go. So the Hunter Wolf has been renamed to Alpha Shadow, which I think is actually a pretty cool name for that. I don't know this character yet. Haven't met them yet in the anime. Also the box. The box art's pretty cool. I'll give him that. And then lastly, we have the Triceratogos, which has been renamed to Trike, which I don't know how I feel about that. Again,